Samson, he was the strongest man in the Bible, according to Judges 13-16. He was born with a special vow to God, called a Nazirite vow, which meant that he could not cut his hair, drink wine, or touch anything dead. As long as he kept his vow, God gave him supernatural strength to fight against the enemies of Israel. He killed a lion with his bare hands, tore apart the gates of a city, and killed thousands of Philistines with a donkey's jawbone. However, he also had a weakness for women, especially Delilah, who betrayed him and cut his hair while he was sleeping. This made him lose his strength and his eyesight. He died when he prayed to God to give him one last burst of strength to bring down the temple of the Philistine god Dagon on himself and his enemies. Deborah, she was a strong woman in the Bible, according to Judges 4-5. She was a prophetess and a judge of Israel, who led the people with wisdom and courage. She also encouraged Barak, the commander of the Israelite army, to fight against Sisera, the general of the Canaanite king Jabin. She went with him to the battle and prophesied that God would deliver Sisera into the hands of a woman. That woman was Jael, who killed Sisera by driving a tent peg through his temple while he was sleeping in her tent. David, he was a strong man in the Bible, according to 1 Samuel 16-1 Kings 2. He was a shepherd boy who was chosen by God to be the king of Israel. He showed his strength and faith when he faced Goliath, the giant champion of the Philistines, with only a sling and a stone. He also fought many battles against the enemies of Israel and against Saul, the previous king who tried to kill him out of jealousy. He was a man after God's own heart, who wrote many psalms and worshipped God with all his might. However, he also committed adultery with Bathsheba and murder against her husband Uriah. He repented of his sins and received God's forgiveness, but he also faced many troubles in his family and kingdom as a consequence. Esther, she was a strong woman in the Bible, according to Esther 1-10. She was a Jewish orphan who became the queen of Persia by winning the favor of King Xerxes. She risked her life to save her people from a plot by Haman, the king's wicked advisor, who wanted to destroy all the Jews in the empire. She revealed her identity as a Jewess to the king and pleaded for her people's lives. She also exposed Haman's evil scheme and asked for justice. The king granted her request and hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai, Esther's cousin and guardian. Esther also obtained permission for the Jews to defend themselves against their enemies on the day that Haman had planned for their annihilation. 2. Paul, he was a strong man in the Bible, according to Acts 9-28 and his epistles. He was a zealous Pharisee who persecuted the followers of Jesus Christ, until he met the risen Lord on the road to Damascus. He became a passionate apostle who preached the gospel to Jews and Gentiles all over the Roman world. He faced many hardships and dangers for the sake of Christ, such as beatings, stonings, shipwrecks, imprisonments, riots, plots, and false accusations. He also wrote many letters to various churches and individuals, teaching them about God's grace, salvation, faith, love, and hope.